What's going on YouTube? Kilo 6 here, and we have got our next install on the JK. We're going to be swapping out our JK hood latches with some JLs. Look at that beast right there. So a couple things about the JK hood latches. By the way, I'm holding onto my wrench here because I don't want it to fall through. I'll go over that in just a quick second. But the JK hood latches, if you can come in here real quick, you can see very cheap. They wear a lot. They're very faded, as well as this right here is a rubber piece here. You can see how flexible this thing is. Problem with that is that over time it tends to stretch. It loses its durability, its tight hold on the hood. And I noticed the other day while I was driving on the highway that the hood was starting to flutter quite a bit. So did some research. Turns out a lot of people are buying aftermarket hood latches for that exact reason for the JK. I didn't like the way some of those things looked. They didn't look, I don't know. I didn't like the way they looked. We'll just keep it simple as that. And I saw JK Gear and Gadgets, by the way. So shout out to JK Gear and Gadgets. I'll tag him in the video when I get this thing uploaded. He's the one that I saw that actually swapped out to these bad boys here. So hats off to him for giving me the idea. I agree with him. Some of the aftermarket ones, they're not for me. These guys right here, they look really, really sweet. They got a metal clip here. So anyways, we're going to start the install right now. The reason why I got my wrench in here and why I'm not letting go of it is because if I do, it's going to fall. The problem, the other side is a lot easier to install. What you're going to need is a 13mm socket for this first piece. Before we can install the new ones, what we have to do is take off those two up there, which those are 10mm bolts that are at the top, or 10mm nuts. And then down here, you've got a 13mm that's on the inside. Now, I've already loosened it, so I can actually reach in there and unscrew the whole thing right here. But in order to get in there, I actually had to pull out two of these guys here. You can see there's one right here, and there's one right here. And what that allowed me to do was literally be able to pry my front piece out just enough to be able to get my wrench down in here. So what I did is I got my wrench in there first, then took my 13mm socket, placed it in, then got my finger in there, lined it up, and loosened it. But now that it's loose, I can actually just go ahead and unscrew the rest of it on my own. Now the kit I got comes with its own bolts. You can see right here, there's the bolt that's going to replace it. The one from JK Gear and Gadgets, he actually said you were using the original hardware. So depending on which one of these you pick up, by the way, this was $30 on Amazon for a much more sturdy, better looking hood latch. So we'll show you the end results, obviously, towards the ending. But mine was $30, comes with its own bolts. The one from the JK Gear and Gadgets video, I think he said he had to use the original hardware. So especially for this part right here, as I'm unscrewing this, yep, there it goes. I figured that was going to happen. It fell down. But you can see right here, that's the original piece right there. We'll get all this cleaned up here before we get the new one bolted down. But ultimately, this guy here is going to end up bolting directly into that spot right there. It's going to look really, really sweet. But we'll get this cleaned up, put that piece in, and then we'll start working on the top piece. All right, we'll see you guys in a second. Time out for a second, JK. I realized with all of my other install videos that I never actually do a full review of the product. Like, I kind of talk a little bit about the reason why I'm doing it, but then do the install and say, see you guys on the next one. So this is a couple of days after I installed these hood latches for the JK, the JL hood latches. And I just want to say I've driven on the highway about 6 or 7 times, and that flutter that I was seeing before, completely gone. So it's been 4 days since I installed them. I've been on the highway 5 or 6 times, and these guys here, the JL hood latches that I installed, it worked beautifully. So changing out your hood latches so you can have something a little bit more sturdy worked out really, really well, from the JK hood latches that were rubber and crap to the JL ones. Again, the only issue that I'm seeing is when I go to put it down, see how it's just barely kind of right on here. Whenever I lift up the hood, both sides, you have to make sure that you kind of pull them aside to be able to get it on. But anyways, other than that though, everything is super solid. Everything is working really good. And I'm very, very happy with this product. So again, the link is in the description below. Not affiliated, not a sponsored thing or anything like that. Just straight up, these products is awesome. Go check it out. Go get it yourself. Now, back to the install video. So this is a formal apology video for Ben at JK Gear and Gadgets. So he went ahead and told us right off the bat in his video that you're going to need a 3/8 inch drill bit to drill these holes out a little bit more. Can you see these down here? Yeah. So I saw this thing and I thought, he's crazy. That's way too big of a drill bit. And I actually tried 2 sizes prior. I went with this guy, then I went with this guy, and then I finally ended up having to go with this guy. So the reason for it, and what I'll probably do is, because I already drilled it out, is I'll show you guys on the other end, but with the old JK hood latches, the alignment pins right here fit in perfectly in the holes. It was all lined up right. This new one, these alignment pins that are right here, they were a little bit further down. So the hole that was a little bit too high up, so it wouldn't fit in. But now that I've drilled them out, which I still need to clean everything up, by the way, you can see, placing this in, the bolt goes in the bottom one, the two alignment pins are going to fit into the top one, and boom, it fits in flush, like perfectly fine. So, sorry, Ben, and if you ever watch my video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, follow me, because I follow you. But either way, point is that I'm going to finish installing this right now. Well, no, first I'm going to clean this thing up right here, just get all those shavings out of the way. Then we're going to take our 13mm socket, we're going to come on the inside, and we're going to bolt down this guy here. We won't make it too tight. What we're going to do is just kind of get it until it's not wiggling too much. And then when we start working on the top, we want to make sure everything's lined up fine before we crank everything down and make it too tight. So basically, I'm not going to use the socket set. But yeah, 3/8 drill bit is what you're going to do. I didn't have to drill this bottom one because the bolt fit in really good. But you can see in there, I just came right in like this, and it was super easy. I mean, you can see it didn't take a whole lot. You don't want to go crazy with it, but don't be afraid to drill your Jeep. This is all going to get hidden up as long as you get it all nice and cleaned up afterwards. So that's it for this one. Let me clean up, and then we'll come back in and bolt everything down. Just so everybody knows, this video is a sponsored video by Ryan Reynolds' very own Aviation Gin and I think it's Mountain Dew. Aviation Gin, real smooth. So Ryan, if you're seeing this, hit me up. I've got you, buddy. But anyways, yeah, let's put that aside. Let's go ahead and get our next section bolted down. So I wedged my socket wrench inside here, so I didn't have to worry about pulling it back out. I'm gonna get the 13mm right on like that, and I guess, ooh, I want to do that. I'm gonna thread it by hand first. Let's put this thing back over here. It didn't dawn on me. I should probably do that before I try to worry about bolting it. Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna use this right now. See, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's that Aviation Gin, guys. I forgive me. But let's go ahead and get this in. We're gonna line the bolt up. We got the alignment pins lined in there, and then we're gonna put the washer and the nut on here and tighten it down as much as we can with our hands. Then we may socket it down a little bit more based on how easy it is to bolt on its own. Hang on a second. This is the hard part. This is hard. There's not a lot of room to work here. I might need another set of hands. I might have to borrow my cameraman. Let's see if I can do it this way. Hang on a second. Don't drop, don't drop, don't drop. Don't. It's Aviation Gin's fault, guys. Let's grab that down here somewhere. There we go. I blame you, Ryan. You beautiful bastard. Alright, let's get this back in there now. We'll be alright, guys. We'll be alright. We got this. You just have to, not drink when you do installs on your Jeep. How the heck is this gonna work, man? Seriously, this is the hardest part of this entire install. Drilling the holes, fine. Taking the previous piece off, fine. Getting this, there it is. Put the washer in the place first. See that? Get that flush up against there. Then put the bolt through. I got it. How the heck is this gonna work? Balance the washer so it doesn't fall off. Then take your nut and go in there and try not to drop that in this tight work space here. Oh, hang on. And look at that. See, first try. So, yeah, that's exactly how you guys are going to do it. Minus all the, hard parts that are in between. So we'll go ahead and tighten that guy down just enough to make sure this thing isn't wobbly. Then we'll bring the hood down and we'll start working at the top. See you in a second. Alright guys, so we are done with the bottom section here. Trying to get the wrench in and out of here, by the way, was super difficult. And then I realized, since I already dropped some screws down, I just let the wrench go and it fell to the ground and it was a lot easier to get out. So that's the way you can get your wrench out a lot easier. But anyways, it was a 13mm socket that's inside here. You're going to use a 10mm socket for the top. So you can see that right here though, I did tighten this thing just enough. It's not super cranked down, but it's enough that it's not wobbling around, because I basically want to make sure that with this being lined up, we set this top piece exactly where it's going to go. So I haven't pulled this off yet. This is the old piece right here. You got your two 10mm sockets. So it should be super simple. I don't think any of this stuff is in. Yeah, that was it there. It's already loose. I'm pretty sure. Yep. We're going to be able to just take this piece off by hand right here. I'm actually kind of glad that we're changing out bolts though. So I like the kit that I got. I'll try to link the actual kit, but you can see these are decent bolts that are right here versus, not bolts, nuts. But you can see right here, the one that comes with it feels kind of cheap. It feels kind of like thin. Like look at the difference in this right here. I mean, I guess they're the same size, but I don't know. This just seems cheap. The whole new kit seems to be way better than what's stock with it. But let's go ahead and knock this guy off. And I don't think, actually, now that I remember, I believe he said that he drilled out this top section as well. But let's go on ahead and take this clip piece that comes off. There we go. So this is the old one here, and just so you can see here, this actually is a lot smaller, but this is a lot bigger. But in any case, I believe these should fit right in. I don't think we need to drill this one out. I'll still need to clean it, but let's just do a quick preliminary fitting. Let's pull these guys off. See how that looks. Yeah, I don't see any reasons to drill that out. I think maybe the kit that I got, the only time I had to drill out were these two here for those pins. So again, Ben from JK Gear and Gadgets, he, I believe, said in his video he drilled all 5 of them out to the 3/8. That is in there fine, perfectly good it seems. These two down here I did drill. So the 2 holes for me I drilled. I'll show it on the other side when we actually install the other side. But otherwise, since it comes with its own hardware and everything, I believe that's going to fit perfectly fine. So we'll tighten it down almost all the way, bring it down, latch it, and see how it sits, and we'll compare it to the plastic piece that's on the other side. So you can see the rubber original hood is right over there. So what we'll do is we'll close this side down over here after I get it all bolted down, look at the line that's on here to make sure it's nice and even with the other side, then we'll tighten everything down afterwards. So that's it for now. All right. So we've gone ahead and bolted everything down. I actually just tightened everything down since this thing I didn't have to drill any additional holes for. I just tightened it all the way down. I want to see what this thing fits like that. Then I went back in here and I retightened this thing down. So everything looks from a distance that it was going to line up perfectly. So we'll see. I haven't done the other side yet. We still have the rubber straps on the other side. But putting this side down, now that's something I did notice. You see how that is there? You have to kind of pull that off to the side. But putting that in, should just be able to put that right over there and then clamp down. And that's it. So this thing is solid. The only thing that I will say is that it looks like this gap here is more. So you can kind of see coming along this side here that, here, I'll just go ahead and do this. There we go. It looks like this line here is a little bit tighter here, and then it kind of gaps a little bit more over here. But that being said, I can't budge this thing one bit. That feels super solid. Now when we come across to the other side, here's the rubber piece that's on here. Got to put that guy on. It already doesn't feel near as good. But I will say that this does look like it's a little bit straight across thinner. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, if you guys can see it. So kind of comparing this side there, that right about there looks like there's less of a gap than on the other side, but it feels super solid. Again, I can't lift that. I can't lift this. When I come over here, I can't lift that, but you can sort of see right about here that it's a little bit more gapped, sort of. From a distance, everything looks great. And I will say that, yeah, I can't put it down. When I bolted this thing down, there was no other way I can do this. It wasn't shifting or anything like that. It was very, very solid the whole way through. To open it up, just do that, and you can see it kind of already pops back off. You just put it on like this, and then coming off like that, and it's ready to go. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go on ahead and try to record the entire other side without stopping. So this side over here, it was obviously done in segments, but so for the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have my cameraman hold the camera the entire time. We're going to pull off the old pieces, drill the 2 holes, bolt everything back down, and try to do it all in one video segment. If it doesn't end up making the YouTube clip, then it's because it was like 7 minutes or something like that. But I'm kind of curious with this side here. It didn't take a long time. It was actually super, super simple to do, and that's sort of what I want to demonstrate with the other side. So if you don't see the other side being installed, it's because it actually took a little bit longer, and we'll just go on ahead and say right now, right here we go. subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Also, go check out Ben at JK Gear and Gadgets. And I thank him again for showing me this here, because this thing looks super sweet. If you do continue the video on, and it actually has a little bit more, it gives you a real life estimation on how long it takes to do the entire install on one side. Because what we're going to do again, undo the top, undo the bottom, drill the 2 holes that we need to drill with the 3/8 drill bit, bolt everything on the new stuff, making sure it's all aligned, and then lock it all down. So I hope that it gets in there. I don't know what we're going to end up being at fully. I want this entire video to be like kind of around 10 minutes. And this recording alone is at 3 minutes right now. But I think all the other segments are like only like a minute and a half. So we'll see. But if not, one love, subscribe to the channel. If it is, I'll say that again at the ending. See ya.